I woke up seeing that post and I just shook my head, man. I said, here he go. 50 Cent is the super villain of the internet, dog. He really the Thanos of this rap game, I'm telling you. When that man get quiet, that's when you need to start praying.
Hold up. Things got loud online after Boosie stepped in and reacted to 50 Cent publicly throwing shots at T.I. and Tamika Tani Harris. And listen to this, the internet lit up almost instantly. In a post that started spreading everywhere within minutes, 50 hinted that a documentary might be on the way, one that would dig into the legal controversies that have followed the couple for years. And girl, he even joked that they might want to line up a serious crisis PR team before the noise gets even louder. The message raced across social media fast, leaving fans divided between people who think 50 is just being brutally honest and others who believe he knows exactly how to spark headlines across the entertainment world. Around that same time, T.I. showed up on the Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg show, where he talked about several current topics in the music industry, while also addressing some of the chatter now tied to his name. During that conversation, he touched on a few issues floating around online and tried to clear up certain points that had recently started grabbing attention. But you won't believe this. His appearance only added more gasoline to the situation because listeners were already locked in, waiting to see if he would respond to the latest drama. Almost at the same moment, fellow Southern artist Moneybagg Yo was also giving interviews where he spoke about the situation involving 50 Cent. While sharing his thoughts, he explained how he viewed the bigger discussion and how certain moments connected to 50 slowly became part of the narrative. His comments added another angle to the story, giving fans more background on how the back and forth between artists was playing out publicly, just as those interviews began circulating online. Then listen to this. 50 Cent dropped a message that instantly grabbed attention before it was reportedly deleted. In that post, he suggested that T.I. could eventually face questions tied to legal allegations that have appeared in past public reports. He also brought up the idea that bringing in a crisis PR team might not be a bad move. Meanwhile, as T.I. continues moving through his media tour, those posts didn't stay up long, but screenshots traveled everywhere and sparked a whole new wave of debate about what 50 really meant in that moment. 50 Cent also pointed out that new music had recently dropped, and some viewers read that as a subtle nod toward the promotional run surrounding T.I.'s latest appearances. And because the timing lined up almost too perfectly, a lot of people online started speculating that 50 might have seen interview clips circulating earlier that day and decided to jump straight into the conversation. That's the moment you better double-check the windows and lock every door, because listen to this. Whenever 50 Cent starts posting like that, it usually means he's somewhere behind the scenes plotting pure internet chaos. Then, hold up, he started floating the idea of a Surviving T.I and Tiny type documentary, and you won't believe how fast people reacted to how crazy that sounded. Some fans said it was ruthless, others argued it felt more like calculated entertainment. And the second he connected that situation to other industry controversies in the same breath, the internet basically erupted. During several interviews, T.I. reportedly explained that certain responses from people around him happened on their own and were not something he personally directed. He made it clear that he didn't tell anyone to jump online and defend him when the drama first started heating up, at least according to his explanation. Later on, he reportedly told everyone involved to relax and avoid turning the public discussion into something bigger than it needed to be. Meanwhile, as fans across social media are still arguing about what this whole situation really means, some viewers think 50 Cent sounds frustrated and might be reacting emotionally to all the noise. Others believe this back and forth is just modern entertainment culture, where artists constantly engage with fans and rivals through social media.
A lot of commentators have also pointed out that 50 Cent has built a reputation for years for jumping into online disputes with extremely direct and sometimes provocative posts. That strategy usually keeps the story alive for days because people keep reposting screenshots, reacting to his jokes, and waiting to see what he'll say next. At the same time, the person discussing the situation made it clear that their own opinion stands separately from the noise. They explained that while some viewers assume they always take 50 Cent's side, the reality is they simply think he's known for saying whatever is on his mind with very little filter. However, the situation has also pushed people to compare his style with how T.I. usually handles conflict. Several observers say T.I. tends to approach disagreements differently, often choosing interviews, conversations, or even music instead of jumping straight into online back-and-forth battles. In comments shared during interviews, T.I. suggested he believes most of the situation is already behind him. He indicated that he'd rather focus on moving forward instead of continuing a social media exchange. From his perspective, if anything still needs to be addressed publicly, it might be better handled through music or future conversations, rather than escalating the online drama. Some commentators have also questioned the idea of turning the entire conflict into a documentary project. In their view, if a documentary about the dispute actually gets produced, it could push the story even deeper into the public spotlight. Some critics say turning a live disagreement into a full-blown documentary could actually stretch the drama out even longer and keep the spotlight glued to the controversy instead of letting it fade. Listen to this. They also remind people that T.I. has faced allegations in the past that were heavily covered by the media. Even so, the legal cases tied to those claims were ultimately dismissed, and supporters often point out that he went through the proper court process like anyone else would. According to public records that have been mentioned in multiple reports, the cases connected to those accusations did not move forward after that outcome. A lot of fans argue the situation had already been handled legally long before it suddenly started trending again in online discussions. T.I. himself has also addressed the issue publicly before, explaining that the legal matters tied to those claims were dealt with through the courts and later dismissed according to reports. In interviews, he has maintained that the accusations don't line up with his version of what happened. He's repeatedly said he chose to let the legal system handle everything, rather than battling the issue through social media debates or headline-driven media fights. Commentators often say that when topics like this resurface in documentaries or media productions, they tend to drag the entire situation right back into the public spotlight. Even if something has already been handled legally, presenting it again through a film or series can push audiences to revisit the controversy all over again. And once that happens, hold up, viewers start forming their own interpretations about events that might have already been settled in court years earlier. Some observers believe that when older accusations are highlighted again inside media projects, it can influence how audiences view the story, even if those claims were never legally proven. From their point of view, bringing those topics back up during a public feud between artists can shift attention away from the music itself. Instead of talking about tracks, performances, or lyrical battles, the conversation suddenly turns toward personal controversies and old headlines. Within this particular discussion, the commentator suggested that responding to online criticism or rap beef by referencing past accusations could push the conflict into a completely different direction. In their opinion, using those kinds of references doesn't really count as a clean win in the competitive back and forth between artists. Instead, it changes the tone of the entire debate and pulls it away from the competitive energy that hip-hop rivalries are usually built on. They also noted that situations like this have happened in hip-hop before, especially when documentaries or investigative series revisit older controversies involving major artists. However, many commentators emphasize that the accuracy of claims presented in those productions often becomes a separate debate by itself. Once a documentary or series tells a certain version of events, audiences immediately begin arguing about what's fact, what interpretation, and what might simply be speculation. The speaker also responded to criticism from viewers questioning their stance on the topic. They explained that when covering major entertainment stories, their goal is simply to offer an honest perspective rather than defend one artist over another. According to them, people online often assume creators are automatically biased, But they insist their commentary comes from their own interpretation of the situation, not loyalty to any specific celebrity. And as the conversation grew even more intense, the speaker added a dramatic observation about 50 Cent and his unique approach to conflict. They joked that when most artists get into a feud, they run straight to the studio to record a diss track. But when 50 Cent steps into the mix, the playbook can look completely different instead of just dropping a song. Some people even joke he might call in a camera crew, a director, and maybe a network deal just to turn the entire feud into a full-scale entertainment production.
The commentator made one thing clear right away. They still have respect for T.I. as an artist. At the same time, they stepped back and reflected on how hip-hop beefs used to unfold back in the day. Traditionally, disputes between rappers played out through music, interviews, or straight lyrical warfare, not through outside platforms digging back into legal accusations that had already been addressed. From their point of view, that shift in approach is exactly why fans have been arguing so heavily online. Some people believe today's media environment pushes artists to use documentaries, social media, and entertainment platforms as weapons during conflicts. Others feel rivalries should stay rooted in the music itself rather than expanding into massive media narratives. The commentator also noted that 50 Cent has leaned more and more on social media and online commentary when reacting to public controversies. Over the last several years, fans have grown used to watching him post blunt reactions, jokes, and sharp commentary about industry drama. Because of that pattern, a lot of viewers now expect him to jump online whenever major hip-hop drama starts bubbling. At the same time, the speakers shared their belief that 50 Cent hasn't seemed too interested lately in returning to classic rap battles through music alone. Years ago, fans expected rap feuds to produce diss records and direct lyrical competition, but according to this commentator, his focus now appears to lean more towards social media reactions and larger entertainment projects instead of straight rap exchanges. They also pointed out that when someone known for constant online commentary suddenly goes quiet about a situation, fans instantly start speculating. Silence from outspoken celebrities can spark just as much curiosity as their loudest posts. In this situation, much of the debate has centered on the possibility of a documentary project that could reference past allegations involving other artists. The commentator reminded viewers that accusations have surfaced throughout the careers of many figures in the entertainment world over the years. In plenty of situations, those claims never lead to criminal convictions, which makes the topic extremely sensitive when it resurfaces publicly. Because of that, conversations around allegations often become complicated when they're revisited inside entertainment media. According to the speaker, turning serious accusations into part of an artist feud raises difficult questions about intention. When those topics show up in a documentary during a personal rivalry, audiences sometimes wonder whether the goal is awareness or simply stretching the dispute into another format. They emphasize that throughout the entertainment industry, many performers have faced allegations at different stages of their careers, and the outcomes of those situations can vary dramatically. Some cases go through the legal system and are settled in court, while others remain debated in the court of public opinion, where arguments can last for years. Because of that complexity, the commentator argued that bringing those issues back during a public feud can confuse audiences. When situations were already handled legally or remain unresolved, revisiting them during an argument between artists can blur the line between legal facts and public perception. They also questioned the timing of giving major platforms to individuals making accusations during an active conflict between celebrities. When that happens in the middle of an ongoing rivalry, it can make viewers wonder what the true purpose of the conversation really is. Serious topics, they argued, are usually expected to focus on awareness or accountability rather than appearing in the middle of entertainment drama. The speaker added that the ongoing tension between 50 Cent and T.I. seems driven more by image and reputation than by money. Both men are already extremely successful figures in the entertainment industry, so financial gain doesn't appear to be the main motivation. Instead, the commentator believes the conflict revolves around protecting personal brands and responding to public criticism. From that perspective, pride and reputation often play a massive role in high-profile disagreements between major artists. When two well-known personalities clash in public, the situation can escalate quickly because both sides feel pressure to defend their image in front of millions of fans watching online. The commentator wrapped up by pointing out that although people are talking about a possible documentary, nothing has officially been confirmed yet. For now, most of the speculation is happening online rather than through any formal announcements. They also reminded viewers that public records show the matters involving T.I. were civil lawsuits that were later dismissed, not criminal charges, an important detail that continues to come up in the conversation. Boosie also stepped into the discussion as the debate kept spreading across the internet. During a recent conversation, he shared his reaction to the growing controversy and how quickly situations like this can escalate once social media gets involved. According to him, when interviews, posts, and reactions start circulating across platforms, fans begin analyzing every small detail. He explained that once the internet jumps in, the conversation stops belonging only to the artists themselves. Instead, it turns into a full public debate where thousands of people start adding their own opinions. As he described it, opening that door means everyone suddenly feels invited to comment on what artists do, how they respond, and what they should or shouldn't be doing publicly. Boosie added that from his point of view, whatever choices adults make in their personal lives are ultimately their own responsibility. He stressed that situations involving adults should always be viewed within that context. In his words, any actions that may have occurred involved consenting adults who understood the circumstances and participated willingly. He continued by saying that if someone wants something, they usually know where to go and how to find it. According to T.I., nothing that ever happened involved forcing anyone into something they didn't choose. He insisted they never pressured anyone, never drugged anyone, and never held anyone against their will.